Welcome to the People's Guild.
Each week we explore the Splinterlands universe with guests from all across the mythical land of Praetoria.
Join us on our journey as we discuss the evolution of the game, the strategy, the lore, and the exciting path that lies ahead.
To support the People's Guild, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, and also check us out on PeakD, YouTube, and Twitter.
Send your questions, suggestions, and epic battles in our comments through Twitter or email at thepeoplesguildspl@gmail.com. We'll feature the best in our episodes and maybe airdrop you some prizes.
Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the People's Guild. Another week, another episode. One that I would say is possibly the most hotly anticipated of our young season 3. Here we are in the waning months of the year. This guy has made a significant splash since coming on board the team less than a month ago. I see him absolutely everywhere. The Twitter feed is lighting up with this guy's fingerprints. He's, getting involved and having conversations with the necessary powers that be and starting to make waves. It's great to see. Wonderful to have you here, Blaze. And hopefully we got a really solid conversation in store today. Welcome, man.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor. And I've been listening to you for quite some time now, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, man. I wanted to we were talking about it a little bit before we got started, but kind of get your story about how you ended up in Portugal and in the Azores. Just absolutely beautiful out there. So kind of what made you lucky enough to kind of be, life led you to being kind of based there?
Yeah, well, my dad was born here, and he moved back to California when he was 5 years old. So that's the connection. So um, his whole family moved on over, moved west, and then I was born in the Central Valley, California, where, I lived a great childhood. My parents were hardworking. I did all the fun activities as a kid, from soccer to track and field. Those halftime soccer games with Capri Suns and red vines. So I definitely had the California vibe growing up. I lived there until I was 8, though. So early childhood was there. And then my mom and dad came on vacation in the mid 80s, and my mom just loved it here. She worked hard. She worked for the post office, and just a hardworking, young couple growing up, and they saw a vision of escaping the rat race for a little bit to learn a new culture, and they came back one year and just said, or back from vacation, and said, "Hey, well, we're planning on moving to these islands." So, as a 8-year-old or 7-year-old kid at the time, I was like, "What do you mean we're moving?" So I was like, as a whole experience, right? So then we moved over here. I didn't even know the language, so it was something that we adventured down the books and learned together. And back then this was 1990, and then learned the language, learned the culture, um, and it was a great experience. And then teachers started coming to school with hangovers, and that's when my parents were like, "All right." We lived a good solid 6 years in the Azores, and it was a great time. And then we moved back right before high school. So yeah.
Is there a plot twist there, Blaze? Were you homeschooled?
Homeschooled? No. Went to
I just mean
the
the teacher coming hung over. Is there a plot
Yeah,
twist
no, that
hidden in
wasn't
there?
my parents, not at all.
I remember like first learning, when I was older, like out of college and had friends who were teachers. My parents were teachers growing up, as most, like half my family is all teachers. But um, I played in like this adult volleyball league, and this one woman I was friends with was a teacher, and we were out drinking after a game one night with a bunch of people, and she was like, "Oh, I'm getting too drunk, like I'm gonna be hungover. Like tomorrow's definitely gonna be a movie day for me." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, like whenever teach, like if you ever had like a movie, randomly just watched a movie one day in school, It's because your teachers were probably like hungover. It's like, wow, I never thought of that before, but I guess that makes a lot of sense. So I don't know, Jangles, you're in education. Do you employ that tactic at all, or what do you do when you've had one too many the night before?
So the industry here, most teachers operate in an afternoon to evening teacher's role. So you've got a little while in the morning to lick your wounds and recuperate. But yeah, there's the impromptu movie night is not going to fly at my school. I'll tell you that much. I'll connect the dots, especially now that you've drawn a very clear line between the two happening.
So now we know no more movie days at Jangles School. I don't know if anybody your employees listen to this, but I doubt they do, but now they'll know you can't do that. So Blaze, what so high school, so you're in the US in high school and you stuck around, in California for a while after that, and where'd you go to college?
Yeah, so high school was cowboy capital of the world. It was a fun place in the Central Valley. It's called the little town of Oakdale. And was it just a little flashback back before we moved to the Azores? I We did a lot. We did a lot of things. My dad did all kinds of stuff from uh yeah, he was a hard worker. But anyways, we had cows on the side. So I had a cow and my brother had a cow and uh, so we sold the cows before we moved over here. And my dad put it in the savings and accounts. And back in those days, it was 16% interest at the banks, right? So when, long story short, when we got back and I had a little savings account when I was in high school and I really wanted a 68 Mustang. That was my favorite car. Um, so I had that cow money and got myself a Mustang. So high school was great. Soccer, Nintendo 64, cruising in the Mustang, living
Man,
the Cali
the
life.
the collector and you started young, dude. Being
Yeah.
16, 17, 18 years old in the early 90s, going after a 68 Mustang. That's cool,
Yeah,
man.
it was I was a Joe Montana, Jerry Rice kid. So love the 49ers, as you can tell here. Stuck with me. But yeah, Mark McGuire baseball cards, opening those packs back in the day it was good times. And then I got back into it when in Portugal there was nothing, right? I'm living on an island in the middle of nowhere. It's freaking lost out here. It was just building houses in the forest and the beach life. But yeah, getting back to the States, it was a culture shock, going from a little island to the big life again. So, but I adapted well, and yeah, high school was a great experience. But I was never really into school. I was more into like my friend and I were into building computers, so we had like the first CD burners. So I'm walking around school with a fat stack of papers of all those songs I had, and then had a nice list of clients, and it was a good. It took a good 35 minutes to download a song back then with the what was it? That 28.833 modem connection. So, um, yeah, did some hustling back in the day. So the business side of me and collector side was started at a young age, man. I was always into that world. Um,
Was all
so
your music courtesy of Napster?
Yeah, Napster and LimeWire, and then
Yep.
IRC was a chat that you had all the Juarez stuff, and spent a lot of time in there, and yeah, it was good times.
Yeah, I definitely remember those days. A lot of IRC stuff when I was younger. I was like, yeah, I feel like I don't know, man. I feel like I like knew more about computers probably when I was like 12 or 13 when, that was just your life day to day is just doing that kind of stuff and you kind of grow out of that and like knowing Linux and stuff like that a lot better when you just had free time and that's all you like mess around with and now it's like oh no I just rely on like Windows and stuff like that and I feel like I've learned less about computers as I've gotten older.
Right on. Yeah, so just did a lot of wheeling and dealing when I was young. Was just trading football cards, going to card events, and buying and selling, and the whole experience of building computers led me to I for college I jumped into an MCSE course and because I was really into computers, but then I was already making money on the side, building computers for people. I worked at Radio Shack and my Portuguese came in handy because I picked up Spanish rather quickly. And working at Radio Shack back in when I was a late teen, I was already the track phones were a big deal back then. You remember the track phones?
Oh yeah.
So I would get the Mexicans coming in and they would come right to me because I'm the one who spoke Spanish and I was getting all the commission off of the track phones and I was like, this is awesome. So and then they didn't sell computers, so I was handing out business cards while I was there. And yeah, it was great. So that got me into the business world, right? So that was, and then I'm doing the college course, and I was like, this is great. But then I was like, going to dive into college. I was like, why am I going to go to college? I already know how to make money. I'm doing what I love. So, and then in the mix there was, the dream of being a pro soccer player. But I played with a 3D team, and it was competitive, and we would travel, but can only take so much of that after a while. It was a burnout traveling around with a bunch of dudes. It just wasn't me. So, but it was good times. And yeah, I signed up for college. I took that course and then I just basically dropped out because I just moved into business.
Nice. Did you pick up any like surfing at all when you're in the Azores or?
I did I've dabbled a little bit. I was more into the spearfishing.
Okay.
So yeah, I did a lot of that when I first got here, and then that's tapered down a little bit. But I love swimming in the winter. I love the whole Wim Hof, the whole cold showers and
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
breathing techniques, and it's fun. But the waters here pretty warm year round. The weather gets to about 13 at the lows. Sometimes it dips below that, but on average it's 15, 16 Celsius.
Oh,
And
it's
summers
beautiful
don't get
weather.
above what this summer was actually particularly hot, like hotter than normal. It was sitting around, you're looking at 28, 30, which is what is it, mid 80s or so, but with
Yeah.
humidity, it's like it's hot.
Oh yeah. That's pretty standard fare for weather as far as weather goes here too. Well, man, kudos to your parents for having the foresight to, invest in that sort of experience when you and your brother were young and obviously alongside that teaching you guys commerce with, the sale of your cows and setting up a savings account and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It feels like a lot of, where life has led you. Those seeds were planted really, really young from some pretty incredible experiences on behalf of your folks, instilling that stuff in you.
Yeah.
Are you holding down the fort solo in the Azores? The rest of your family still
So,
stateside?
so yeah, well, eh, just real quick, diving into the whole business side, after my course, I opened up a computer gaming center. So that was I was the brainchild behind it. My family helped me out a lot with it, and I was working full time for another business, but we had the computer gaming center, and they helped. My dad was a janitor. My brother would come and help after college and fill in times where he could, and yeah, so they were there for me when I started the business, and they loved the idea, but they had nothing to do with computers. That was all, she'd yell at me every time she'd catch me playing Counter-Strike back in the day. And so she didn't see the vision that I kind of foresaw in gaming, right? But but yeah. Sorry, I went off tangent there. What do
No,
you
that's kind of
ask?
right. Yeah, no, that can how big of a like so that's like one of those places where you can just rent sort of hourly, pay hourly to have a
Right.
computer and be able to play different games and you had all the games loaded up and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah. So this was around 2001, 2002. It was World of Warcraft was getting ready to kick in, but I think we were doing like Battlefield and Counter-Strike. So what we had was 20 computers going down the sides, and then in the back we had the big screens with the Xboxes, and then that was the Halo tournament time, and it was a great experience, man, for the community. The kids absolutely loved it. And the cool thing about that place was it didn't matter what background you were from. When it came to gaming, everybody was on the same level, right?
Oh, it's universal. Yeah, man.
Yeah, so you had
I
the high school jock getting lit up by an 8-year-old, and he's like, "Who the fuck is that?" And I'm like, "Hey, watch your language, buddy. It was that
uh,
8-year-old over
whose
there."
username your daddy? It's some little
Yeah.
7-year-old chipping at you from behind the TV. Yeah, man. I remember very fondly, like, turning up to buddies' houses with an Xbox in the trunk and trying to set up our own, like, you know, I guess LAN network,
Yeah, you can
and
run LANs.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, man,
I did
prime
that a
time
bunch in
for
college because
video
they, yeah,
gaming.
those original Xboxes you could just hook up to with a bunch of Ethernet cables to each other, and so yeah, you can get a bunch of stuff going at once. It was fun.
Yeah, that's what we had going. It was Halo was big. And then we
Yeah,
had traveling teams for Counter-Strike. We had some pro Counter-Strike players. So, did a lot of market. That's, where I learned the base of the marketing and promoting, right? So did a lot of stuff there with posters and, just learning the grind and how it worked. Um, Funny story, we had some competition come into town. It was a small town. And it's like computer gaming centers were popular back then, right? But our town didn't have any, so we said, let's bring something fun to the town because we all worked. I had multiple things going on. I was flipping houses already at the age of 20. So and doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu at nights and fitting everything in. It was just I was always very active. But this other computer gaming center came in and they decided to play the whole price game. So I learned the hard life of business of, it's not an even playing field. So they came in and lowered the prices and talked bad about us and all this stuff. And it's like, well, we're not here for the money. We're here for the passion behind the community and what we're standing for. So we just dropped the prices to basically close to zero just to flush them out. And they got wrecked because that was their livelihood. Um, so I guess I had a little tiger in me already. So it was a great experience of watching them get wiped out, and we tried to be kind to them and they came in with this attitude of like they were going to take over and so that was a great experience. Felt bad for them, but because they had to go back and get jobs. But so be it, man. That's life. But we were again multitasking and never had all of our eggs in one basket. So great experiences again, back to back. Everything I did was led me to where I'm at today. Um, Back to your original question, Azores. Yeah, I was the first out of my entire family. My There's this word in Portuguese. It's called saudades, right? Saudade is that word that can't be translated. It's kind of like missing or longing for something. And a lot of the Portuguese communities, they wish they were here, but they didn't have the opportunity financially, and they had a good life going on over there, and they always missed it over here. So I was actually the first one out of all my family. It's a big family. My dad had 8 brothers and sisters, and I have a lot of cousins, and lived a lot of good Christmases with my family. It was good times. But I was the one that fell in love with the girl over here, and because of life experiences, we grew up together. She was 6, I was 8, walking to school. We had friends growing up, and then I saw a picture of her years down the road. I was like, whoa, gotta hook up with that. So, anyways, that's the main reason I moved here. But I always loved the islands, and but yeah, I took the big jump in 2010. Moved over here and internet was good back then. I worked out a deal with the company that I was working with. I was their lead salesman and marketing, and just was able to work from home for over a decade doing that and living in beautiful Portugal. We lived on the mainland for a little bit, but then we found ourselves coming to the islands all the time, and we had dogs, and it was a pain to travel back and forth. But yeah, no, it's all good, and here we are, 14 years later. I'm still here, so
Man, so you're like the digital nomad, well before it was become much more popular these days. You
yeah,
were, like 10 years ahead of the curve on that one.
you got it, and it was cool because it's like it was middle of the year. I'm going to South Portugal, and it's like on a Wednesday, and I'm surrounded by all these older people, and I'm in my 30s, and I'm like, well, Rosa, I guess we're doing something right here. If these people work their whole life to get here and we're hanging out with them. So, no, it was great, man. Family, health, finance, fitness, all that kind of good stuff that creates good pillars in life to make you a better person. And that's what I always strive to do is to be better, um, day in, day out.
Beautiful, man. Well, before we dive too much further into the career path stuff, you've mentioned you're a football guy. Does that mean is your allegiance firmly waving that Portuguese flag, dude? Are you a
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo over Messi kind of guy?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm down that rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah.
So Benfica is my club. It's a big club out of Portugal here. Has a great history, beautiful stadium. It's a great environment to go hang out. So Rosa and I go to Lisbon often to go watch games or just get that city life experience whenever we're missing it. So but yeah, I do watch American football. I did the fantasy football for years, but I dwindled down because I was the champ, I was just kind of ready to retire. So this is the first year I was like, last year they put me in and I didn't want to be in because I didn't know who was coming up. I was down, bear market is for grinding crypto to get ready for the next bull cycle. Um, so yeah, this year was the first year that I said, as after talking with the Splinterlands community and telling them about my plan of attack on how I'm gonna, join the team and I need to start cutting out things that aren't productive so I can focus on Splinterlands when I'm ready to come in. So I already had manifested it, I guess, before I even talked to Matt. So it was good.
Awesome, man. Well, let's get right into it, dude. So, I mean, the hustle in you, I think, is clear. You wear it with pride, and rightfully so. It sounds like you've been hustling for the better part of the last 30 years, Blaze. It's gotten you to a pretty unique position in life, and um, I think you and I were talking about it, and I think you ultimately pointed out to me that it was last August or September. That was my first kind of quote unquote introduction to who you are with our mutual buddy Dwayne. I think he featured you as kind of a guest speaker and just kind of, very surface level got to hear your thoughts on stuff and the way you're kind of thinking about all things Splinterlands and the future. And yeah, it's clearly not a facade that you're about the good vibes and about the positivity and focusing on the highlights and rocking a good vibes t-shirt. Yeah. Um, just yeah, icing on the cake right there. So what a journey, man. And let's kind of zoom back a little bit before we really dive into how you found Splinterlands. What was it that really resonated with you? Let's start there and see where it takes us.
Yeah, so 2017 was my first roller coaster with crypto, right? So should have got in it sooner, but I think I was busy playing World of Warcraft and selling software around the world. Didn't get in soon enough, but that was my first experience with crypto. So I got in really, you know, it I gravitated towards it because it was down my wheelhouse. And so I was doing the sales job, right? And I had that down pretty good. And I picked up crypto and I started going down the rabbit hole of EOS and Wax and Cardano and all the popular ones back then. Well, Wax was 2020, right? But yeah, so during the bear market, my friend and I, our meetings were playing Fortnite, talking about crypto. That was our crypto meetings. We were playing Fortnite, just, a game so we can hang out and play something and talking about crypto. That was our bear market 2018. What are we buying for the next bull cycle? Kind of where we are now, right? Um, and so we would do that. And then once we stopped playing Fortnite, once our bag started pumping and we started, diving down and helping projects. And 2020, I had to cut the cord on Web 2. I just couldn't juggle both. My crypto bags were solid enough to sustain my lifestyle, and I was doing quite well. And the company was running on had some COVID issues coming up, and the software was a little outdated that I was selling, and the devs weren't quick enough. So I just ultimately had to make the jump into crypto. So took the jump, 2020, and like heavy, and then I got big into wax because they had Garbage Pail Kids cards coming up. Do you remember the good old Garbage Pail Kids cards?
I do, yeah.
EK? No?
A bit, a bit. I was never a collector, but yeah.
Yeah. So I wasn't a huge collector of those, but it was the closest thing. So when I lived here, again, I was a card collector living on an island, and I would, do the box breaks, right, with a company out of Florida. I'd wait for my cards. They would take forever to get here. They would get hung up in customs. And the experience of physical cards just was starting to like I saw the NFT life start up, so I was just shifted right from physical collecting into NFTs because GPK was coming out on the Wax blockchain, and it was going to be big, um and I was ready. I was early. We were learning we were already experiencing some other projects that were flaring up, so we knew how the buy process worked. So that was cool. Um, and then got into Alien Worlds. That was massive. Was selling lands for like $32,000 because I saw the greed kick in and the leadership over there, and I was not happy about the path they were taking. Um, and that was around the time that Splinterlands was spawning 2020 on Wax. And that's how I was introduced to Splinterlands, is because they were connected to Atomic Hub. So I saw some lands there because my other digital lands were doing good. And then yeah, just started buying a little bit of everything, and I bought quite a bit of plots. I didn't go with what was the region. The region was like, I don't know, $500. It was too much money.
Oh, I thought you were going
So
to
I
say, because
bought a
there was a
bunch of
time on Wax where that region was like $500,000, I feel
yeah.
like, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I got in the packs were like $35 in the mark, 15 or $35 that I bought the claims, right? And then they were selling for like $700, at one point. So yeah, that was the intro. So November 2020 is when I got into Splinterlands, but then I didn't start actively playing until the following year. 2021 is when I really got into it. The game didn't attract me right away because again, I'm more of a sports card collector. I was never into Magic the Gathering or anything like that much, Pokemon, and but I knew of it because it was again in the same space when I would go into the card shops, they were there. So, but once I saw like, the competitive play, I was like, okay, this is cool. And then bronze didn't interest me. I was like, there's no abilities. I got to level up. So I just started going down that rabbit hole and, buying everything I could do to work my way up the ladder. And then I was hooked.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you really started buying then, were you kind of buying when like Untamed? Were you buying like Untamed cards and things like that? Or
Yeah, I was
you
buying
kind of hold
Untamed
off till Chaos Legion?
on Wax as well. I think I was buying them on the market, but then on Wax they were doing bundle sales, and I think they were a pretty decent price when they started escalating. And I was getting them for under $10. I was like, this is a steal. And yeah, it was just fun. And then all of a sudden the collector mind kicked in. I was like, this is actually the art's great. And I started, paying more attention to it. And yeah. So then what happened was I found myself I did quite well with Terra Luna. I was an early investor in that. And it was a great experience. And they had that decentralization that I like, right? So the experience on Wax with the decentralization of Terra Luna and the UST was just a beautiful thing. Too bad they were too early. If it was now, I think they would be doing a lot better, but it was just a timing thing that was off with them, unfortunately. But I worked with a couple of projects on there, and no, it was a great experience, but I found myself always playing Splinterlands, regardless of the peak of the bull or the bottom of the bear. I was playing Splinterlands, so I just really gravitated toward it. The casual gamer in me, as well as the competitive gamer, right? So, uh, yeah, just again, I've been playing ever since. I jumped into Dwayne's Guild and been doing the brawls. I don't think I've missed one. I might have missed one when I was traveling, but I doubt it. So,
So I'm curious when you're kind of reflecting on, so it took you about a year, six months to a year to kind of dive into Splinterlands from the time you fired up your account. And obviously it's been off to the races since then. When you're reflecting back to like those early days of you really sinking your teeth into the gameplay and into the community and to making friends and hopping into the guild and all that sort of stuff. Um, is there something, an aspect of that entire experience that sticks out in your mind, Blaze, as that was the hook, line, sinker? That's what got me there.
yeah, well, at the end of the day, it was probably community that kept me around and the vision of the team, right? Like they fought hard for what they've built, right? And the possibilities are endless with the game. And I didn't mention, but I was big into poker as well. Poker was a part of my life. So it kind of, Splinterlands kind of has everything that that I love, right? Um, we have a lot of different target audiences. We'll dive into that as well. But it's collector, the land aspect, right? Just got a taste with Alien Worlds on how the land can work, and everything just started adding up. Where it's just like, this is it. Like with poker, why I bring in poker is like there's all kinds of tournaments and events that we can do that we can all like feel comfortable and we'll dive down that rabbit hole later, but I just see this vision of this game and especially the decentralization. I don't think people understand the power of that once we get fully detached from centralization. It's very important, right? You saw what happened to Terra Luna and how they were attacked because they had a centralized location, and they had to deal with government, and it was brutal. And that's one thing I'm hoping that we really don't have to deal with in the future because this is freedom. So hope that answered it. I just again
Yeah.
the entertainment aspect. It's deep, man. The game runs deep. There's a lot to offer for a lot of different audiences. So
Well, I'm glad you answered it in that fashion, Blaze, because that's exactly where I was trying to kind of navigate things with respect to this, you know, particular topic is, uh, how much of, it sounds like the three of us all had, relatively similar, 90s kid backgrounds, lots of community driven video games and, stuff like late Halo nights and transitioning into, these other games. And here we are at Splinterlands. And, I think for me, there was a long stretch of probably the better part of a year where the only thing that kept me in Splinterlands was the brawls and the community and the social aspects that existed coexisted with the splinterlands.com. That was the peak of bots being rampant in modern, and you were better off just handing your deck over to a bot and collecting your returns, where most of the time you knew that there was obviously a stretch towards the end of that era where it was clear that you might as well be playing bots and brawls because of all the battle helper stuff. But yeah, there was a long stretch of time for me where it was brawls first and foremost. Like I was really going after the gladiator cards, and we were really firing on all cylinders as a guild. And yeah, so I'm just kind of curious, as you're entering into this new role, how much of that experience do you kind of foresee playing a significant role in your decision making? As I don't even know what your title is, to be completely honest, Blaze. Let's start there. What's your title these
yeah,
days?
so lead marketing is the hat I'm wearing right now. And I'm working with Scott and Andrew, very talented gentlemen. and we've already had quite a few great meetings. And the Splinterlands really needs, all we're doing right now is we're creating structure, right? There's a lot of back end stuff that didn't exist that we need to create, whether it's historical data that we need to forecast, to documentation with a basic structure. So if we were to bring somebody else on board, they weren't, looking around on who's doing what, why, when, where, getting structure in. So that's a critical area for me right now, is building the structure and getting the community together, because we are Splinterlands, right? So Splinterlands itself, the team, we need to contribute to our community and give it get it. We have to be as passionate as our community members are, right? It's very, very important. So the team is building. It's like I mentioned on my intro call, I believe it's like the North Pole. Everybody's over here building. It's hard to articulate, but I mean, they have a bunch of different programs with tickets, and everybody's doing their thing. And I don't know. As I observe, I'm sitting in on all the meetings and just understanding the company well. Um, I'm putting my plan of attack in place and understanding what tools I have to with, and what I can commit in the short term and the long term, and also work with Scott on, forecasting and doing competitive analysis and all that marketing stuff that needs to be done to uh, shift the direction while maintaining the overall dreams of Matt and the Web3 aspect, right? Because that is a key component, but we need to let the market speak to us, and have the market be the driver, not our feelings and, gut gut check, like, oh, this is what I want to do. Well, if we want to be a billion-dollar company, we're going to have to take the right actions to take it seriously, and you know, um, cater to our target audiences and bring them in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, Splinterlands has been sort of without someone in that, the position you have now for a long time. So do you feel like there's kind of just like a hole that, you're trying to fill in, kind of, what's been set aside, left to rust for the last, 6 months to a year, maybe it's been. So is there just like a lot of work to kind of catch up on?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot, a lot. And again, that, unfortunately, we weren't left with much in this department. So, it's building it up from scratch, and that's why I just asked for a little time. But in the less than a month that we've been here, we are already putting down the foundation, because we need that in order to go. If not, we're just scatterbrains running around and, same old, same old. So creating this structure is very, very important. And I've got a lot of good stuff, and I'm listening to the community, and I think that's key, is sales lead hat right now, right? But or marketing lead hat right now. And but the business development side of me is, I'm really itching to help multiple departments on helping with structure, right? Just putting the basic documents, so when we do onboard new people, they have a better experience. So they have all the documentation they need in place. And they're not bugging people and letting them work, but just actually going off of a process instead of again, just the norm.
Yeah, so back to the thought that was kind of leading into this bit of the conversation is, how much of what, you've obviously got the experience, you ran a successful gaming center, the community, it sounds like, has been kind of the stalwart piece throughout your various areas of gaming. How much of that do you think will be at play with and driving your decision making with respect to kind of the future of what we're trying to do here?
Well, it's just painting the picture for the community, right? So we're going to have to paint the picture, and because everybody's thinking from their mindset. And as I had mentioned, there's a lot of different target audiences that this game's going to capture. So let me just rattle off a couple. We have the casual gamer, the competitive gamer. So you have the people that just like to get off work, play a couple games. That mobile experience is going to be awesome, by the way. I've seen it. We're getting ready to test it, and they're doing a great job. But um, just focusing on, understanding what Splinterlands is and who our target audience is, and build for them. And That's what we need to do. So you got your blockchain and crypto enthusiasts, that people just love the SPS and how it works, just that game, the DeFi, they can do the pools. Everybody plays a different game. Some people don't want to play Splinterlands, but they want to play the token because they see the enthusiasm in the community and they see where it's going and the potential, and they just want to invest in the token because they think it's a great project. So our target investors, right? So we have to cater to them and find all kinds of creative ways to strengthen our token and the value of it. You got the collectors, which, as you've heard my past, that's that's who I am. Number one would be a collector. So um if you've seen the Discord chats, it's an emotional conversation going on with the community, and it sounds like I'm not the only one. So um that's going to be I think an approach that the team's we're gonna have to do something different than the norm, right? And we're going to have to find a way to get rare cards in the game and have, set amount of cards, which Helios is a good example, right? She's 100 cards, so that's already a start, and they already have a serial number, so baby steps. We're getting there, but that's huge. And when I say card collecting, when I guess you and I are looking at the game and you see that it's a trading card game, but we don't have the ability to trade in game and we're on the blockchain, I think that's crucial. I think we need to implement, just like Atomic Hub has, for example, the ability to trade. So I can send you a trade offer. You have an extra kitty, I have an extra Jotun. We want to do a straight up trade. We should have the ability to do that in game. Um, those are little things that again, little things, maybe not for the devs, but little things that need to be done in order to create that nostalgic feeling and bring people to be hanging out, playing the game inside the game, not in Discord, right? Actually, trading in game, just looking at their inventory, making moves, putting things for sale, and we already have rentals and all kinds of fun stuff. So the game itself is already super fun. And I think the community, what we need to do is embrace it and focus on the stuff that we have in front of us now and let the future just build out. And again, we are building the future of Splinterlands. So look at the SPS DAO, right? Look at what other game, look at Pokemon, and they're just doing their own thing. But look at our community. We have Eternal Tofu. It's like community members have their own cards and they're powerful and it's fun and engaging. And there's just so many different ways to look at this game. But the collector, I want to design the game where it fits, right? And again, the market's going to talk to us if that's a priority, if that's something we need to focus on now, or if we need to focus on, um, new customer experience, all that stuff. That's all coming together. But the team already has so much on their plate, and we're right now we're putting the plan in place. So as soon as we do have the opportunity to shift focus, we can.
That's awesome. So yeah, so you're saying, sounds like that you're really looking to, identify some of these key areas of growth, and then but also listen to the market and see, what we're going to be most successful with, and being able to kind of pivot and move so that we're not saying, hey, we're just going to try to go after this group now, and maybe it doesn't work out and people are upset and then you chase something else. So it sounds like you're really trying to build out, flexibility, in not just like how the game appeals to people, but how you're kind of marketing to people.
Right. It's like, who are we going to bring in? Well, the market's going to tell us who we're going to bring in first, right? And that's the homework we're doing now to get those answers. And that's why I can't just wave the magic wand and, do a big sponsorship and have tens of thousands of people come and play the game. How we're going to do this is organic. Or we need the community to be in a good mood first. I mean, if the community is in a bad mood and we have people landing and they're just going right into the salt mines, we don't want that. We don't have time for that. So we need to drown out the salty environment and just flood it with, positivity and fun and again, and always deliver and focus on what the team's delivering, because they're delivering product week after week. There's big updates happening. Look at all the stuff that's happening. And there's always that little community that's like, what's next? What's next? When deep down, when they look in the mirror, I just, I think they need to get their life in order. Are they here for the right reason? Did they get wiped in 2021? It's like, what's the real reason they're so salty? Is it because their investment's down and they're just wanting it to go up? I'm sorry, don't make me go off on that tangent, but it's like we need to get our lives in order and actually just focus on building this great game that we have. And it's more than just a game, it's a lifestyle. It's a hobby. It's friendships that we're building. It's a powerful thing. This is what everybody wants, and we have it. And we're the first ones that truly have it because I don't see any trading card game or game with land that has this kind of diversity inside of one game. So
There's
super
so much
stoked,
depth,
man.
man. Yeah, there is
Yeah.
so much depth. We talk about, Dwayne, a second shout out today. He
Yeah.
he's one of the first guys that really kind of opened my eyes to, he calls it the game within the game. Playing the markets and, playing card flipper, asset flipper, that sort of stuff. And, you got your land junkies. And, I think, somebody like I don't think that the game is necessarily set up to attract the collectors the way that I think you envision it, obviously. But that said, we do have a number of guys. Gold Matters is the first one that comes to my mind. Like, he's got an absolutely enormous collection, doesn't ever play the game. Everything's sitting on land, and he's just flashing, one of the biggest collections in all of Praetoria. I'm wondering, this is kind of segueing into Heloise, and you called it out. That's got to serve some really powerful vindication for you, Blaze. The scarce, uber scarce card, 100 copies, 95 copies with 5 gold foils. I'm thinking about that first gold foil. What kind of fireworks are we going to see? Are it wouldn't surprise me if we get up to roughly 10K, man. I think that's a very possible reality for that number one gold foil mint. And yeah, so I just kind of want to hear, I asked you specifically last week if you felt like it was a mistake running Heloise concurrently with the Hall of Legends. And you gave me a very candid response that, kind of put my foot in my mouth. So why don't we go back to that and let's put it on air, Blaze. Do you think it's a bad idea that we are running Heloise concurrently with the Hall of Legends promos?
Heck no.
you, you,
No.
you
That's
elaborate a
all
little
that.
bit more than that.
Yeah. I censored myself, but like, no, it's like too much, too little. Come on, guys. Let's just pump out good stuff and enjoy the ride because I kind of like it because it distracts people and we just don't have one thing that everybody's focused on. Because I still need my Legends cards. I still need to pick them up before the window closes. And I want them as a collector and as a gamer. If I want to be playing in Champ 2, Champ 1, I need to get those cards, right? And also again, that goes back to that casual gamer versus pro gamer, right? Um, it's important, man, that we have both. And I know everybody wants everything, but you saw last cycle that was almost impossible, and it's going to be impossible in this game all the time because we're always doing fun stuff like this. There's going to be, especially when we have the one-on-one. Sorry, there's only one person that's going to be holding that one of one. So um again, and that adds scarcity and again back to the pack collecting. I just when you open up a pack of football cards and you see the odds on the back, one in a case or, one in 5,000 packs. And I think we just need to add that glow into our pack sales because once we get our complete set, we're not, diving down that rabbit hole. But there is this thing called, I'm going to go ahead and say the name because I think everybody else spills beans, but hardcore is survival mode. So survival mode is going to be the new gameplay. Um, just wanted to
Oh
say that
shit,
before.
Blaze. Well, there you go.
Nice.
Okay, let's put a pin in that one. I don't know how much more alpha we could get out of you on the hardcore survival mode, but let's circle back to it. So I was on I hopped on with Dave and Jimmy and a couple of the Team Possible guys, Paul TRX. We were talking about, what kind of stuff could we hope for with Conclave Arcana with respect to the one-on-ones. This is on the heels of the conversation that was happening in the People's Guild Discord. I know you chimed in and you were dropping emojis, kind of, offering acknowledgement that you had seen and recognized the, the calls and concerns that were being raised and that sort of stuff. And why don't we start with the kind of the obvious question? So what would you hope for that would be different versus the status quo of just, regular foil, gold foil? What is, obviously the one-on-one is, or one of one is a piece to that collector's pie, but realistically, what do we have time to get implemented, and what are you hoping we will be able to see come to fruition by the time it's we're opening up packs for the next set?
Yeah, we're creeping into mid-November and there's still room to do stuff. And that's what I need to do is work closely with the team to see what is possible. And again, that whole priority thing, right? Um, and will we be able to implement it in this go round, right? Coming up in 2025. And if not, this is the blockchain. We can be creative. We can go back and do some fun stuff with chaos. We can do fun stuff with rebellion. So it's not like do or die on this next series of Conclave Arcana. And yeah, I don't think again, there's that vibe of it's the end of the world if we don't do it. If you don't get a rare card in there, it's over. It's over for Splinterlands. And that's when, you dive into Discord. It's just like that air is just so toxic. And again, I love the community and the passion and all that, but it's like I need to know, what we can do, and that's what I'm focused on, is like, what can we do? What can we make the community, the majority of the community happy with? And again, what tools do we have to work with? And that's what I'm working on now. Again, I I had a call at 11:30 at night with Royal Eagle last night. So we're Splinterlands 24/7. We're taking calls, we're listening to the community, and then we got to get with Matt. And again, everybody's busy doing important stuff. This alpha that's coming down the road is just it's it's amazing. I mean, it's really going to attract that new customer naturally, get them to stick more than attract, right? Because, as good old Dave McCoy says, 500 in, 495 out, or whatever he said. But it's like it's that we need to stop, right? Because you can do all the marketing in the world, have people come and land, and then they just leave because it doesn't hook them. So that's the important thing is we start, setting our hooks. So, and again, what can I do with the team we have now? And then also, how will we build the future out to, you know, um, build upon, right? So if they're underwater, what's the solution? Bring on 2 devs, 3 devs, get them trained up and getting pumping out things that are a priority and helping, get things knocked out instead of just relying on a couple of people of getting things done. So a lot of hustle needs to happen, and getting people trained up isn't easy. So we need to lay the foundation for when they come on board. It's not a complete mess, and we're not just relying on one person. So that's focus is creating company structure.
Nice. In the town hall, Matt had said that, helping with player onboarding experience was going to be sort of one of your areas of responsibility. So yeah, is it, have you looked at that? Is it kind of looking at what the team has been doing and how you're going to implement that? Or do you have any sort of fresh ideas on your own that you think might be able to help out with that?
Yeah, no, I mean that's the marketing side of things, right? That's what we're doing all this documentation for and research, and there's a lot of stuff on the back end that we'll bring to the table once we have it, because it's like kind of like that question, who's going to win the war? It's like you know it's something that's hard to answer. You don't answer it like that. You just want the war to stop, right? You don't want people to die. And then so this, it's like, how are you going to do this? Well, we're just going to look at the right action that needs to be taken, and we're going to take it. But we're not going to like say how we're going to do it. We're going to let the market talk to us, and that will, give us the answers that we need. So I don't want to beat around the bush there, but we just need to get our foundation and our footing down properly. so we can run in the direction that the market tells us we need to run. So again, and that goes to the target audience, and that's going to be like the focal point, and that's how we're going to go out and pull people from other games into our game, or pull people from the other ecosystems into our game. There's just a lot of ways to do this, and we're going to figure out what's the right path, and we're going to take action once we have the answer.
Let's talk those target markets. So we talked, you rattled off maybe a handful. I think, maybe there's a second handful in there somewhere. Is there, without holding your feet to the fire and coming back and saying, Blaze, you said this on mid-November episode 122 on the People's Guild. What does your gut tell you? Is there a particular demographic target audience that we should be prioritizing above all the rest? Where is your hunch kind of leading you at this point in time without?
For me, it's the competitive gamers, because we're going on an epic bull run, right? And we need to show off, the power of SPS and how you can earn it. And I think getting those people are naturally going to come, right? Those will be the first ones. Instead of trying to sell somebody on a vision, those already know. They see the price go up, they see our players playing and how much they're earning. So SPS price go up is very crucial to, attracting this rush. So then bring in funds for Splinterlands to be able to build out. So competitive gaming, collectors, bots, believe it or not, we should be able to cater to them in a good fashion and bring some creative gameplay for bots. And we can keep it isolated, right? Like, we don't have to have people, they can have choices. If you don't like bots, fine, don't play with the bots. That's why we have modern now. So again, it's just lining everything up. But there's the whole land thing that's also very important. I know everybody has their own opinion on it, but the land aspect, and I know we do some things that we thought that were going to be in land, but it's going to be very important for the longevity of the game to get the land down, because that's going to bring a whole new dimension, right? So yeah, the land barons, right? That's going to be an interesting audience, but I think, again, that's something we can look at after the competitive gamer and the collector. We build the base for that, and then we'll get the land people to come over once we have our game right. And that's going to take some work, but he's hammering out some good stuff. I've already seen some things that Cryptomancer is working on. I think he was on not too long ago, right? Two episodes ago or so.
It's about a month ago. Yeah.
It was a month ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, he's working on stuff, and I think it's going to be a huge part of the game of adding new dimensions to it, right? Like, just imagine that you have to go work land, and then you can get these abilities that are burner abilities where, it grants you one extra attack to a certain monster, and then it burns it, right? There's so many fun things that we can just do to level up this game and take it to, the new level that we all want it to go. And I don't know what that is for you guys. What do you like most about the game? Is it, what category do you fall under, B Jingles?
I love ranked. I'm a glutton for punishment. I don't have the time to grind as much as I once did. But yeah, I love trying to, when you mentioned poker earlier, that was the first thing that came to my mind, was kind of the ranked aspect, like looking at past plays and trying to figure out what are the rule sets that these hands were played in, and am I walking into the very meta play, or is he looking for the counter to the meta? Trying to call the bluff and play the bluff, and bluff the bluff, and yeah, it's a lot. Like, I love the ranked stuff. There are moments where I'm kind of like, oh fuck, I never want to play this game again. That was awful. I just lost 7 out of 10 in a row.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I keep coming back for more. But
then
sure
30
enough,
seconds later, and you're hitting the
I'm
battle
right back
button
in it.
again.
I'm
30
right
seconds
back in
later,
it.
right?
and you're getting that dopamine with the victory, and you're right back on top of the world. So the rank stuff is a lot of fun. That said, I grew up collecting baseball cards. I grew up collecting basketball cards. And I think I shared some of that with you last week. My prized possession as a kid was I grew up in El Paso, Texas. I was just as close to the Diamondbacks as I was to any of the Texas teams, and I landed on the Mariners as my squad, and they were an awesome team in the mid '90s, and King Griffey was my guy. So the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card, that was my prized possession as a kid. It was an upper deck, I think, number
Yep.
one in the set in the series. I've still got it somewhere. I have
It is a
no idea
beautiful
what that
card.
card is worth these
It's
days,
actually
but
worth some decent money, I think, still. It probably worth.
it
I
probably is.
I
I
feel like
think
that's
I
like
think
the one card from that era that actually like retained or went up in value. I feel like for whatever reason there just wasn't one that was like overprinted, or maybe it was just such a high demand for it.
yeah.
Well, I feel like Ken Griffey, he was kind of like what Allen Iverson was to the NBA. Like he was a very significant culture change in, baseball is like straight lace, and there wasn't a whole lot of room for flash and attitude. And then you see somebody like Ken Griffey come in like rocking the backwards hat and like all smiles, just having fun, and like big ego and smashing dingers. Yeah, I loved it, man. So the collector side of the game speaks to me too. I do understand the appeal for things like, the very exclusive foils and the incredibly scarce, uh, you know, print runs and that sort of stuff. But yeah, first and foremost, it's gaming, and then I would say the collector is probably a distant second.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm probably the same. I'm probably more in the casual gamer play at this point, where I'm not grinding it out every day. I'm probably maybe some days I'm not even playing matches, but most days I'm, at least getting a few matches in. I've been starting to play on my phone more. That experience, we talked about this last week with Lily a little bit. I think that experience has gotten so much better. It makes it easier again to kind of just, squeeze a couple battles in during the day, or when I get home at night, getting a couple battles in, after I get the kids down or before bed or something like that. So yeah, and I just like, the cards are fun, and I just really like, being able to play and just kind of try new things. And it's almost a little bit easier for me now that I'm not too worried about my win rate. And so just like to try like fun combinations and be like, oh wow, that really worked. That's cool. I wonder if I'll ever remember to do that again, or something that doesn't go wrong, go too well. Um, so yeah, I think I'm kind of there, and I so yeah, just like the game, like the community, and yeah, I really like, yeah, especially some of the new cards and stuff have come out, and I've gotten more used to some of the new abilities and the new rule sets. I think have been a nice little refresh the last month or so. So yeah, definitely in a positive direction. One thing I wanted to ask though, we've talked about it a couple times. Um, on the show with different people, is just the idea of that those competitive gamers or traditional gamers being very adverse. There's definitely a set of those gamers who are very adverse to anything that has anything to do with crypto. They just don't want to hear it. They either think it's a scam or think, you shouldn't have to pay for stuff, even though, a lot of people spend a lot of money on things in games they don't even own. So yeah, just kind of wondering your thoughts on that sort of interplay between Web3 gaming and traditional Web2 gamers.
Yeah, I mean that'll be a selling point, right? Um, but again, I there's a lot of work to be done to be able to capture that audience. And once we get it to a point where, that whole the new vibes that they're adding to the people who join the game and getting them hooked. I don't know how much is floating around out there, but it's going to be great for a new player just to come in and put a name in and actually have a name in the game. That's one of the new features being added in, and little things like that is really going to help, bring on the new player. And then with the wallet, I think that we'll have to do a good job of making content for them to set up, how it works. And that'll be a priority to have good content from the Splinterlands team itself on how to, you know, onboard yourself to crypto. But yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
So
Do you think the relaunch of the mobile app's probably going to be big, right, for that, right? Because that's probably going to be, able to attract players with just the gameplay and not. I'm assuming there's not going to be any, like, none of the actual token aspects will be tied to that, right? Because I mean, to be in like certain like Apple and Google Play stores and stuff, it's kind of got to be separate. So
yeah, and they're rolling things out too, right? So I mean, it's not going to be like boom, here's everything. It's a process, right? So the version that's going to be coming out is going to be a great start, right? And then it's just going to keep getting better over the year. And I think that's where people need to instill patience, because that is really, really, really going to help with the new customer process, right? Signing up new people and having that functionality of just being able to go on your phone and, set it up and play the game is something that's a little rough. It's been rough in the past of just doing that. But that's it's an important step.
do you think the so to people, they've done a lot so that the mobile, like using it on the web on your mobile experience is a lot better now than it used to be, but they're also going to be rolling out the app. So is the idea that kind of like the app will replace that? It'll be very similar to that. I'm sure how much of this, if you're aware, but like, or is it going to be those things are going to simultaneously exist and certain players might prefer one or the other, or is it just going to be like, no, we want this, the app to be the experience as opposed to doing it like on mobile web?
I think it's going to be an either or situation. You can pick how you want to do that, because the app is going to be, the mobile version needs to be, or the playing on mobile experience, the app will be a wrap of the web version, right? So it'll be able to handle multiple or both. Are we going to push everybody to the app? Again, I don't know the details on that and how that's going to work, but both options are going to be there.
Yeah, Blaze, you got a lot on your plate, man. Let's talk about the survival mode. Keeps tapping me on the brain.
Well,
Is there anything that we want to?
I want to circle back on your comment, like the how poker is kind of connected
Oh yeah,
to,
sure.
to the game, right? Like, it's fun, man. It's fun to play a game. I don't know how anybody plays modern, like, that has old cards. I don't know what you guys are thinking. I don't know how your brain works going after the extra. Just buy more SPS. Just get a bag of SPS and play wild. So I just the combos are insane. I mean, just that alone. I'm still new to the game and I've been around for a while, right? Like, everything feels so new. Like, these combos with these chaos cards, and it's weird. And you go grab an old alpha card and bring them in the mix, and it's like, wow, has anybody played this combo? And it's just the thrill of combining all these options that we have. It's a little overwhelming, by the way, but it's just so fun. Like, that's a game within the game. Just finding my favorite card, Exploding Dwarf, right? I love getting a kill with him or getting him on a rampage. And man, it's just yeah, I don't know how more people aren't focused on the fun of just playing the game. But I go down that rabbit hole and I absolutely love it. But that same with the whole poker aspect. Like you said, losing 3 games in a row, I just hit the X and I leave. I said, I'm not coming back today. And then, like,
Full
20
tilt.
minutes later, I'm
Yeah.
playing. Same as poker, right? You lose to
Oh
your
yeah,
pocket aces to 2-7. You're like,
totally,
so
man.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the wild aspect. I'm with you, man. It feels so overwhelming. I think we're all human. We stick to what we know. We stick to what we love, and that's part of what I love about the modern leaderboard stuff is it's always fresh. And as much as I complained and bitched and moaned about these legends cards being too pricey and pricing people out, it's so good for the game because it does keep things fresh for the most part. We obviously just had the injection of the new rewards cards, and by the time it's all said and done, these Hall of Legends are going to be running through what, January? There's still going to be a steady stream of Heloise kind of entering into leaderboard play until February sometime, and then we got 3 months for things to kind of stabilize before we do it all again with Conclave Arcana in an even bigger way when Chaos Legion exits. Because good lord, Chaos Legion is what, 400 cards or something like that, so it's 70% of modern at the moment. Yeah, so I'm super excited about the constantly evolving stuff, and this is, I'm sure you've heard, Blaze, the call for kitchen table game mode for all. I am a huge proponent for the inconsequential fun play. I think that is something that is sorely missed, and obviously this is back to my answer to your question of what type of target market are you in Splinterlands, and it's the gamer. Like I you and I have played quite a few ghost challenges. I really enjoy figuring out the new meta stuff and trying experimenting with the new cards in different positions, and trying to unlock new stuff. And I think the way that the game is currently established, the meta stays more stale than it should, because there isn't room for inconsequential experimentation. So that's one of my biggest hopes for what we can and will see in the next 6 months, and maybe the free to play is kind of the answer there.
Right. Yeah.
So
Same.
I don't know.
I'm with you on that, right? Like I want that as well. Like I find it where I'm playing ranked battles when I wish I could just be, training, right? And I can just, be free to do that without having to like bug somebody. Hey, you want a challenge? You know. So the game definitely needs help in that area. And I think I owe Jimmy a call. So I think he's on my list too. I think he had some good stuff to share with me. So I'll be getting on the phone with
Jimmy.
him. And yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. And again, I think Royal Eagle mentioned it not too long ago in the chats that we have a limited team. We do right now, and we have to prioritize. So that's going to be the hard part about what I'm doing right now, is figuring out what the priority is and knocking it out. Because I think a lot of things are also just getting uncomfortable to get comfortable kind of thing, where they're in their little routine, and once they get past this stuff, we'll have them all step back and propose the new vision, and maybe a lot of the things that we're talking about isn't that much work, right? That we could knock out in a quicker time frame. But again, being respectful of their time, we'll figure out the right timing to jump in and you know make those changes. We have to start making those changes.
I want to circle back, Blaze. So I tried to push this conversation a couple of times. We got sidetracked. We went elsewhere. Let's bring it back. Third time's a charm. The community aspect and marrying. We have two separate worlds. You play the game and then you talk about it on Discord. There's no social interaction on splinterlands.com. It doesn't happen. Like every once in a while you might see a mention in the tavern on your respective guild, but that is the only place where that sort of social interaction could happen. And something, I'm going to shout out our buddy Matt Clark. He had talked about some, it feels like a crazy wild idea, but like a pub brawl. So every once in a while, maybe once a season, twice a season, you'll receive an in-game notification that there's a brawl happening. It's just like a fun free for all. You join up with your buddies and get some crazy rule sets, and it's just a big mass melee session, whatever that looks like. But I think the critical point there is offering additional engagement in the game with your buddies that we've all come to know in some form or fashion throughout our history here. And something else I would love to see would be if and when we get those one of ones, I keep saying one of ones in Conclave Arcana, I want to see like fireworks on my screen when Hepthorn pulls a one of one. Like it's gonna zoom to his collection. I'm gonna see this awesome platinum foil card, and maybe I can drop an emoji on it, or I could say you owe me 500 bucks, send me this card. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think a
know
lot of
if
that can
it's
happen. That can happen over social media, right? So we can send the link to the pack opening or something like that, and
also
then
true. Yeah.
you have that option to do that, so we can share it with the world. I think that would be huge.
Well, I think
But
there's a
I
good
have brought,
opportunity with Hive, actually. Like it all happens on Hive anyways. Maybe there's an automated peak D post that's, you know, birthed out of that sort of blockchain opening, looking for the particular identifier on the card. I don't know. But I think that yeah, the main thing that I'm driving at is I want to see that social piece. I want to see that community piece more heavily focused upon as we proceed into the future here.
yeah, I've brought that up on many meetings already. So I'm the annoying one, right? So it's come up. I've heard all the we don't want to do that because of, but with my sales background, I can hear a no 100 times, and all I need is one that yes. So I'll find a way to word it to get him in. But so on that note, like it's difficult, right? Because it's like, okay, if we have it in game, who's going to moderate it? How's it going to work? How many people can be in one channel? So it's like we're exploring all those options right now. Or is a quick fix to have in your profile a link to your Twitter handle or your Discord, something where somebody can click on your preferred method of contact and reach out to you, then have the disclaimer and such. But I think that would be at least the start to make it easy, where we just have a link where you go on the account and you just battled somebody and you click on the link to their social media and you message them, hey, that was a great battle. And they're like, it wasn't me, it was a bot. But so
Standard response, canned response. Yeah.
Of course.
yeah, so that's coming that's coming up all the time, and again, I want that as well, and I think it's again, we want to get people in the game. Like they're all scattered right now. We do want to get them in the game when they're playing to get that nostalgic feeling of like, I want to go hang out in Splinterlands. We're going to send a trade offer. We're going to chat about it in game. That would be the ultimate vision, right? Hey, I just sent you a trade offer. Can you look at your inbox? All right, accept it, whatever. That'll be a great social aspect. But again, what's the easiest way to implement with the time we have? And then that's the approach we'll take first. And then what's the long-term vision of how does that look? Um, but yeah, we can take the best of games that are out there and implement them, right? So we have to look at what works. Because I see a lot of us inventing the wheel. Well, there's mint number systems that'll one of 10, one of 50. We'll figure out all of that. I don't think we need to hurt ourselves thinking about flooding the chats with all of our ideas and that all gets lost. I think about put stuff on paper, analyzing it, looking at the other markets and how they work, and designing it properly, and then running it by the community if there's any minor adjustments we need to make. And again, the same approach goes for chat. What's going to work better? Well, let's talk to the people who know best, and let's figure out the best method of attack. So
Nice.
hopefully I didn't do too much weaving there, but yeah,
No, it's good. Yeah,
yeah,
you talk about, looking at other games and things like that. And, you mentioned before talking about, different events or partnerships. So do you, kind of what are your thoughts around those? Like, is there going to be sort of any cross-selling with other games or promo events with
of
other
course,
Web3 projects?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, timing's everything, right? Like we baby into this. We're gonna make it work. Yeah, there's no need to go sign a contract with Mike Tyson right now and bring in his card to knock everybody out. It's we have to go with what's natural to the game. And I had mentioned to 12, like my first objective is to get the community on the same page and everybody with the good vibes that we need in the game, right? And also contests for like content creator of the year, things like that I have planned for 2025. And I want to bring value to our community members first. And if I when I do go outside and reach, I don't want to reach somebody just because of their status. I don't want to bring their audience just because we're paying them X amount of money to talk about our game. I want to grab that person, bring him into a Zoom call or whatever, and play the game with them and get their reaction. And I want to find people that are at that high level but actually love the game and are not just here for the paycheck. because we're creating longevity here. So what we need to do is build up a power base. And by building this power base, this is how we're going to thrive. I mean, just bring in good people. Good people is the focus, right? We get those good people in, and yeah, sure, some bad actors will come in and out of the game, but that's fine because we're going to have our base in place that we're not going to get rocked. So I see
Brings back to the
Splinterlands
vibes, right?
outlasting any kind of bear cycle, by the way. Like, we do this right, we get funded right. The tournaments alone, just strategic tournaments and challenges that we can do as a company and as a community as well, will keep everybody going through a bear market and keeping the value of our cards, right? We can always do stuff to add value to our cards. That's the beautiful thing about the blockchain. So, I really see that. I see that for the company. I don't see it, pump and dumps, go buy some meme coins, And I think a lot of people, that's what they kind of want to happen is SPS to go flying to a dollar. It's like, let's just build this strong, build a solid base of I'm not going to sell my SPS because I have a say in the game. I can go vote, right? And we create this just, again, we're pioneering this shit, you know? This is real stuff, and we're making it come to life. This is somebody's dream, and we are part of it. So, and then also, again, like, what other game do you know that has like community members as the main? Look at Tofu card, like I'm kind of jelly, I would like a Blaze card that's freaking a powerhouse like his card, So, yeah, man.
Totally. What's your what's your dream short list of partnerships, Blaze?
Oh, you're going off of the commands. The 10 Commandments. Well, that's number 2. Don't tell people your next move. Notorious B.I.G.
All right, fair enough. Well,
I do want to kind of just to kind of follow up on one thing you said. So is it something where you see like a source of revenue for the team to be sort of like those sponsored tournaments or other types of sponsored challenges that the team could use from outside parties? Is that kind of what you're referring to, like having those sort of things that'll keep going the team going through a bear cycle?
If it's related, I mean, cash flow is king, right? So we have to, find ways to bring in cash for the company, a bear market or bull market. And I think that's where that Web 2 vibe will come in, right? If we're only Web 3 and we're just riding the wave of crypto, I just, that's kind of retarded, right? If we were just to do that, because everybody's going to dump when it's high. Everybody's going to do the opposite, but a few of us will sell high and buy low, but everybody seems to do the buy high, sell low kind of thing. But so no, and I really think that we need to look at this as a business, and again, a decentralized business, which is going to be weird because we have all these moving parts and these cool new mechanisms that we have to play with, and I just I know we can create longevity just by, doing a great job during this massive bull run that we're going to have that we all hope for, right? But I don't want to rely on that. Like, it's going to happen. And then the next time we can't rely on that. We need to, manage our funds properly and set up a good structure to outlast any kind of bear market. And if we capture that Web 2 audience, the Hearthstone players, the Pokemon players, if we bring them in slowly, over this cycle, we're already going to get that base going, and then we can leverage off of their communities, right? Whether it be partnerships or we're just going straight up and ganking communities because we're better, right? Again, I don't want to show that yet, but we have a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of things we're going to be able to achieve. It's just a matter of putting our brain power together to do the right thing in the right order. But yeah, I mean, that's how I see Splinterlands is stability, right? Like, yeah, sure, economies go up and down, but if we capture the poker player mindset and the trading card mindset and the land barons that just love doing land stuff all day long, if we bring these communities in slowly and start building pillars where each the pro gamer is streaming on multiple outlets, and you got the Observer. Lilyfire added that one to our list of target audiences. There's that Gen Z that just likes watching the game. They don't even play. So how are we going to cater to them? Are we going to do like, give our streamers merch and then they can, give out merch to their audience? If we can do fun stickers and things like that. There's just so much, guys. I mean, I can ramble about this all day long, but again, prioritizing will be key for early 2025. And I'm really happy that we started in October because it's that work that the community won't see for the first 3 months. I'm already on social media. I don't know if I'm focused on X first because it was on a steep decline and we have a big target, and that's where all the Web3 people are. So that's the priority of focus, right? And then also, if you can see, I'm already dabbling with the Pokemon Go community or whatever, Pokemon TGC, you know, their new mobile, and already like, infiltrating. It's a slow process, but you just get in, you start building your network there, you see who their key players are, and this is a long-term game. Will I focus on them on first? No, but I will, become friends with them and have a connection for us to leverage off of in the future. And that's all part of sales, right? And again, sales, marketing all go hand in hand. And then there's just a lot of groundwork to do that people are waiting for that magic wand, but it's all being created behind the scenes. The first month I've been here, I've really been hustling and okay, what's the best plan of attack right now? And just, okay, let's pick up our X account. Let's start posting. Let's do a little contest here and there just to gauge the community and then start doing that stuff more often. And so the rest of the world can see what kind of good vibes we have going on at Splinterlands. And then rekindling old connections with like the Wax blockchain and bringing back those bots that we had back in 2021. What can we do to cater to them? What's PJ and the crew working on the back end of, they're doing all kinds of stuff that the community just doesn't see right now. And then, there's legal that comes into play, or are we, we're doing the right thing. And this is all, there's so many things that the team is doing that the community doesn't see. And frankly, they shouldn't see, right? Because in certain departments, yeah, if it's somebody working for the DAO, I get it, but it can be exhausting when you're running a business and then you have a little guy that has 100 SPS and he puts his hat on. He's like, "Hey, I don't want you to do that. I'm in charge. I hold SPS." It's that whole mentality that just like, it's exhausting. It's like, just chill out and enjoy the game. Thank you for holding SPS and thank you for contributing to the community, but what are you going to add of value? Why, don't be a little pest. Actually contribute, say something good about somebody, being kind is free. And it's just like, I don't understand the mindset of some of these people to get stuck. I do. We all come from different backgrounds, right? So I respect everybody. And but we just need to leverage off our talents. And every community member that we have has a talent. And I think we need to do the job of pointing it out, right? Hey, if you're a great singer, bring on, come sing for us. Let's get a freaking holiday album put together for Splinterlands, right? Bulldog's doing that stuff with the AI and having songs for each character, and we can just bring everything, channel it, and deliver properly. I think that's all we need to do is grab the talents, and have everybody start doing stuff that will add value to our ecosystem. Because again, this is our project. And I think people overlook that. They're just waiting for a certain group of people to do stuff so they can get rich overnight. And that mentality needs to change. And that's our responsibility of switching that narrative and moving people in the right direction. So
Well, I think it's going to be a lot easier now that fingers crossed, it does look like we're on the cusp of a raging bull market. And I think a lot of those salty voices, they're seeing green, there's always going to be somebody, oh, well, look at SPS. It's only moved 5% today. Look at Solana, it moved 30%. You know what I mean? Like right. That's always, it's always going to be there. We're always going to be lesser than for somebody. But, I think for the most part, when folks are starting to see green candles across the board and, all of the stuff, there's like 5 or 6 really massive things that Splinterlands has in the pipeline for the next 9 months, coming quickly down the track. It's tough not to be bullish in the short term. So I really respect you're taking the hard stance of, first and foremost, we need to lay the foundation. It's no shade at marketing team past Chatter and co, but I always kind of scratch my head like what's going on in the marketing department, and I think it's been 2 years. I think he was like going the first round of layoffs. I don't think we've had marketing officially since then. So it sounds like you're doing things in the right way, putting trust the process and we'll lay the foundation and we'll get there. But I am curious, Blaze. I part of me thinks back to Weirdbeard. He had some really big ambitions for what he wanted to accomplish with, whether it was draft mode or battle pass or, you name there's a handful of kind of big ticket items that Weirdbeard presented as these are coming. And for one reason or another, he was, I think, initially hamstrung by the first round of cutoffs and layoffs, and then he was kind of transitioned into another role, playing intermediary between the devs and everybody else, kind of liaisoning between the two kind of groups. And none of that stuff obviously ever came to pass. So can you tell us, Blaze, to me it sounds like you're going about things in the right way and allowing the market to tell us, where do we dig in? I think is a very different approach. But can you tell us what am I not acknowledging here? What am I not thinking about? What is going to be different this time versus 2 years ago?
Right. Well, it's just having the right attitude, taking the right approach, and the right action, right? So if you look at what Matt has had to, he had to change his whole vision as well, like in a way, like put on a different hat of CEO and everything that he's accomplished over the year. I think a lot of people are just overlooking what he's done. The game is heading in a great direction. Did we get everything we wanted? No. But are we getting stuff that adds, again, that strength to the team? Yes. Weirdbeard, great ideas, great enthusiasm. If we can do some stuff in the future and bring that kind of esports vibe to it, I mean, well, it's that thing though. I think it's working with the tools we have and then, adding the tools that we need. I think that's what we need to focus on, right? So we need to do it. It's not like a lot of things that he wanted needs to be done, right? And they weren't done. Why? What was the block? Why didn't it get done? Was it just priority or was it funds? Was it, what was it? So we have to identify what the problems are and then what's the solution to the problem. So, it's that work. It's that stuff that we need to do, that the grind of figuring it out and actually implementing it. And how are we going to bring it to reality? And we need to be aggressive. And that's about shifting the mind and making it a priority and making it happen. We all have all kinds of ideas, but it's like, again, if it's not bringing cash flow into the game, if it's not bringing something that captures people in, then don't do it, right? Look at what we've had with the nodes and stuff. It's like that's been an ongoing process for years. So we've already sold the community stuff that we need to finish up. And the team is doing that now. They're all Patrick and everybody's working hard and they're getting it done. And once we have that stuff done, I think we're going to be able to say, okay, this is what's next, right? This is what we need to do. And this is what actions need to be taken to get done. But that's why I don't want to go promise all this stuff in the world, because I'm working with a certain amount of individuals that are working very hard already. So I just need to create that solution, right? So I need to figure out the right plan and work with Scott and Andrew and then Matt and you write it out and see what needs to be done and how many hours it's going to take, get it scoped and then implement. So it's, it's creating structure. It's so important to every department because it reflects in the game. If we have the structure internally, then it's going to reflect in the game and you're going to see that the better flow of the new customer experience, right? Because we had structure and we're developing it properly. And as we add new things, it's like, what slot's that going to fit in and how is it going to work? I'm a huge fan of the battle pass idea, by the way, like Fortnite, right? And ideas that I have, again, I'm not promising everything or anything here, but for example, like Splintercoach, amazing tool. Work to be done there on his end, yeah, but is he getting funded? No. So what can we do, when we get our funds, what can we do to leverage off the strengths of our community? Back to what I was saying. We have a lot of talented people in the community that can help the game. Axler, was it Axler Twin Blade? Is that the name? Look at what
Mhm.
he did with land. How did we not add more value to that or like reward him for his time? I don't know. I don't know what the past is with the team and how that's done, but the doubt comes into play here too, right? There's no reason to be sitting on $3.6 million when we have a ton of stuff to do. And the team has busted their ass to create that revenue, right? And then we can't feel entitled of like, oh, look at all the money we have control of. No, the team has hustled for this, right? This is everybody as a team working together. And I think those funds need to be distributed to help us build. If somebody really wants something and we can up it on the priority list, but we need more help, then we need to pay for it. We can't just, you know, look at Matt and say, why isn't it done? Why aren't you guys doing that? It's very unfair for him. So I really think that again, building this foundation is going to be key. And this is the stuff that again, you won't see with that magic wand. We're behind the scenes getting it knocked out so we can bring it together and make it a reality. So that's kind of where I'm at with things. It's like we're creating structure here and it's going to take a little time and it's better to do it now than later. On the battle pass, it's like, why can't we bring that talent over and reward them? And then why can't, I would pay for a battle, I would pay $30 a month to have Splinter Coach, yeah, whatever Dwayne's package is. If I don't know what the other streamers are doing for packages, but have some kind of package where you get a cool card and you get access to Splinter Coach's premium account and you get access to one of our top streamers content, like the one-on-one calls or the group calls or all kinds of fun stuff that we can do to unite the community and leverage off of each other's strengths. So that's where I'm at, man. It's that day in, day out.
Well, Blaze, I love that, you've kind of alluded to what I'm about to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyways. I'm going to ask you to clarify a little bit further here. It sounds like one of the major differences of, you are not Weirdbeard, you are not Chatter. You bring a lot of different experience to the table that, and again, it's no knock at either of those guys, but it feels like setting the structure as priority number one, and moving from that foundation forward, and not until you have that foundation fully laid is it time to move forward. That's going to be the difference in creating the buy-in, right? That's where you're going to get that the necessary leash to green light some of these ideas that you've got, that I don't know, maybe the company was too big for somebody like Weirdbeard or Chatter to get that necessary buy-in, or I don't know. It just feels like that there's a very stark contrast there, and taking the approach of foundation first, generating that natural buy-in is going to make it much easier for you to kind of pave the path forward for a lot of these ideas that you're cooking
Yeah,
up.
it's very important, man. Like again, I dealt with it firsthand, right? I came on board and then I saw the structure of the company. How was the onboarding experience, right? Just as someone coming in to help the company. Where are the images at? Where is this? Where is that? Like what paper do I look at that gives me all the instructions I need to grab the data that I need to do go market, right? All of that stuff. I think they were so busy doing their own thing. And in regards to the size of the company and how they hired that many people without having that foundation, I think that's what could have caused the, building the house on the sand, right? Situation that kind of happened because the foundation wasn't there. So they have foundation, but again, it's about structuring it in the right way where we can easily grow and then grow in a way that's going to stick. So, yeah, a crucial area that again, it's being set up now. And again, look what Matt's done. He's brought on a marketing team. He has me and he has Scott and Andrew. Those guys are killers in their own way. And when we start getting the data that we need to go out there, we'll have it. And it's not just, somebody putting the hat on of like, oh, I'm going to go try doing this and go call a couple people. No, you got killers here, man. This team is loaded with talent, and I'm excited. Um,
Well,
yeah.
Blaze,
So
real quickly, I want to dive into this, and we should have started the conversation about Splinterlands with this. You were introduced as the perseverant pest that would not give up, would not take no for an answer. What was that? You and I talked about it a little bit last week and had a good laugh. But why don't you paint a picture for the listeners here? What was
All
that
right.
conversation like? How did you go about wrangling yourself the lead marketing position for Team Splinterlands?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, goes back to number two on the commandments. No, I'm kidding. But it's one of those things. Matt, he over exaggerated. That wasn't the case. I didn't pester the heck out of him. All right. All right, maybe I did a little bit, but no, I heard all the talk, we're going to bring in marketing at the end of the year, and here I come with this background that I have and the passion I have for the game. I don't know if you guys know, but I fired up splintermerch.com, and my idea with splintermerch.com was every profit that came into Splinter Merch was to burn for SPS, right? Or burn SPS, right? And for DC. Just whatever it was, just go in there and take the profits, buy SPS, and burn it. That was the intentions. But they didn't have the structure that I needed to fulfill Splinter Merch because of legal and all that stuff that they just didn't have the team to be able to answer my questions. Um, so, I just put that on the back burner. And that was Christmas of last year or November it was a year ago that I started that up. And then I just put it on the back burner. And I think you heard my call with 12. Um, so it's already, this goes way back. It's not like I just came swooping in and sold them on bringing me on board. I already had a ton of like experience like talking to them, so I understood their structure as a business. I was like, everybody's busy, nobody cares. They'll just say, we don't have time. Okay, I get it. All right, so what am I going to do? I'm going to take advantage of Matt. He doesn't know this, but when he was on my time zone over here in Croatia, I'm going to get him a nice little letter. And I want to hit it to him where I think he's going to be on where he'll actually see it, right? Whether it be in a hotel or an airport. And that was and I had told Crypto Eater and I think Tofu and maybe Butkus, I told the main guys, like, I'm going in, boys. BJ goes, I think I mentioned it to you in a coded way,
Oh, you were
but I
very
was going in.
ambiguous. Yeah, but it all made sense.
And not
Yeah.
only that, I come from an investment in crypto background and I did quite well last cycle. Could have done better, obviously, with Terra Luna. I sold along the way, but it was, again, it's millions of dollars that just went up in smoke. It's like, oh, that was fun. Learning experience. But I took profits along the way and I did well there. And this cycle, I had already hustled the entire bear market and I set up my strategic plays with AKT, DEAI, a lot of AI tokens. I already built my bags. So what I really liked about last cycle is I helped a project over on Vigor Protocol or on EOS called Vigor Protocol. And it was a DeFi platform that we did well. It's just, again, the structure of the community didn't allow it to become what it could be. Um, so I already had experience in Web3 stuff and working with DeFi projects and NFTs and stuff. So it all synced, and it's just like, I love Splinterlands. I played it bull market, bear market. I'm going to attack Matt on this and do all in my power to join the team. And the main reason, again, I put on the marketing hat, as you can tell, I come from a lot of different backgrounds, but the main goal was to get in the door. And the main reason to get in the door was to connect the community with the team because I hated, that's a strong word, but I did not like the disconnect between the team and the community. I had a question, it was an important one, and I couldn't get an answer. I would DM somebody and I would wait. I'd say it on a town hall, but it was filtered through the wrong person and they don't understand what a collector's needing. They're coming from a different mindset and they answer it and their vision, right? It's like, that's not important. And it just felt very disconnected. So I told Matt, I'm going to put all my projects on the back burner. I got my investment friends and they all know that I'm down the rabbit hole of Splinterlands. And this is all I want to do this cycle. I want to focus on helping they're pioneering something amazing. I want to join the team and I'm going to do all in my power to join the team to make an impact for the community and the project. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, anytime we have anybody on the team, on. I'm always struck by their passion for Splinterlands. It's not just a job to anyone there. I don't get that impression. So it's kind of awesome that you were able to, leverage that passion you have for it to get, to sort of get the job, which, makes a lot of sense. So yeah, it's awesome.
Thanks. And I think a majority of them are here for all that I've met so far are here for the same reason, is to
Yeah.
make Splinterland successful. And it's very, you don't see that too often, right? You got the people coming in, they just want to get their paycheck and clock out. No, no. Like I said, I'm on with Royal on a Sunday night after a family dinner on the phone talking about all the drama that's going on in Discord and what I'm going to, bring public and what I'm not, and how can we attack the mint number. And we dove down that rabbit hole talking about the code and how it works now. And it's like I'm super obsessed. It's a be obsessed or be average, right? And I think we got a group of obsessed people here, and that's what's going to make us succeed as the number one crypto gaming project and beyond. Because we are going to capture that Web 2 audience to take us through any kind of cycle.
Thanks.
All right, Blaze. Well, let's
Yeah.
let's break commandment number 2 just a little bit, man. Let's take a look into the crystal ball. What do you kind of see shaking out of the over the next 30, 60, 90 days? What are you most excited about? Where's your head at with all that stuff?
I'm looking forward to coming out with that foundation in place, right? Build that base, have these key things that they're working on. And I don't, that's what the community needs to understand. They're working hard. They're developing things that are going to improve the game. And that's the priority right now because I just jumped on board. I have a lot of work to do. They're finishing up work. So I think February is going to be a key pivotal point where the work that's being done between now and then is going to show. So I'm super excited with the mobile experience. Just again, that's where we're going to get the masses, right? So I think that's crucial that that gets done. The new customer experience, believe it or not, it's going to be very nice. It's going to be a good change to what we have now, and it's going to build a great foundation for what we can build upon. So, yeah, it's the structure is coming together, and it's just going to take a little time. That's all. Enjoy the holiday days. Enjoy playing the game. The team's building. Things are rolling out. Look at all the fun stuff we have now, and the future looks bright. But getting this structure in place is what I'm really excited about. Again, people don't see that, and they want me to share the vision of what I see about the game. But getting this structure is very crucial to where we want to go. So then when I tell you something, I'm not blowing hot air up your ass, I'm actually telling you something that's going to happen. So I think that's key. So excited about all things Splinterlands, if that helps sum it up.
Cool.
Nice.
Yep. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, thanks. Hopefully this will be the first of many times you'll join us, and looking forward to seeing what you got coming down the road and talking to you in the future.
Thanks.
Yeah, hell yeah. Blaze, absolute pleasure having you on, man. A lot of fun. Man, the energy is real. The good vibes are there. I did dub the thumbnail last week "Good Vibes." I think you'd be hard pressed to find somebody with better vibes than one Lily Fire. She was absolutely awesome to hang out with. But looks like in hindsight, I maybe I should have saved that title for this week. But here we are. I've got a good one for this one teed up too, man. I'm yeah, super excited, bullish on the next 6 months, man. It seems like, macro stuff that, we were talking a little bit off air before we hit record. All things crypto seem to be lining up for a significant shakeup in what's happening in Splinterlands, and it just feels different. It feels like things are starting to click. The wheels are starting to get greased a little bit, and things are spinning up positive. And
Man,
yeah.
hey, I'm gonna jump in here. I don't know. I've been getting the DMs where I get my crypto buddy saying, "Hey, I just bought SPS," and they take a screenshot. So no pressure. I see the bags of SPS they're buying because they know I'm on board, and now I'm questioning why I even told them. But now I gotta deliver. So I got pressure on my shoulders too now. Okay, I got my crypto degen friends stacking up SPS. So yeah, it's
Well,
amazing what's to come here.
Tell him to push us to a penny, Blaze. Let's break through that.
Close.
That's going to be a big mental piece for the community to just smash through that penny mark, man. I don't know if it's coming before the end of the month or before the end of the year or tomorrow, but it looks like it's inevitable and it's coming soon. And once that flywheel kicks off, man, holy shit, buckle up. It's gonna be fun. Cool. All right, Blaze, absolute pleasure, man. We'll catch you again soon. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. You have been listening to
The People's Guild.